Have any redditors been diagnosed with coronavirus yet? If so, what is it like? I'm a very healthy person, normally. For me the worst parts are a really bad flu mixed with a little shortness of breath and sore throat. I've quarantined myself, mostly to protect people in my city who can't fight it off. Damn it Biogen. I'm not in the high risk age category. Have been sick for about 2 weeks. Started as cold symptoms but gradually started getting worse. Fever, less appetite, on top of the cold symptoms. I have been tested and confirmed for COVID-19. Onset was gradual over the course of about a few weeks, and travel plans have been cancelled. Currently in Boston. Teacher co-worker of my wife's in Cary just got diagnosed. Yikes. My best friend is one of only 225 patients here in Germany so far to fully recover from the virus. He's 19 though, so he only experienced a day of mild symptoms, and after 2 weeks of quarantine everything's back to normal. My uncle, 70ish, got diagnosed with it a couple days ago in Washington state. He's been quarantined but the nurses didn't know proper protocol at the time and allowed my auntie to visit. Now she has self-quarantined herself at her home. He seems to be in stable condition in the last update, but does have pneumonia. My uncle is stable. They took sputum cultures, meaning they check for bacterial infections. It takes 24 hours to get a result. If it's viral pneumonia, this is a good sign apparently. If your kidney function and cardiac function responds well, this is also a good sign that you are strong enough to fight off the infection. If you do not, you will experience a multi-system failure following. His was still hard of breathing so they intubated him. Gotta give credit to the doctors, nurses, and med staff. They are certainly stepping up and doing the best they can in such a disorganized system. Good heroes. Hope this puts things into perspective. He's been quarantined but the nurses didn't know proper protocol. Now, when you say quarantine. I am a nurse at level 1 trauma center hospital in Detroit. I swear COVID has been around for weeks. There are several members of my surgical team that have been hit hard with respiratory and fevers. We may have misidentified this as the flu. There has been a lack of communication, policy, and testing. My hospital doesn't have a plan. My wife is an accountant and they have a plan to work from home. Again, my hospital does not. This means we are continuing to operate as usual until we physically cannot. My hospital rolled out a policy. We are not to meet in groups over 20 people. Once our first confirmed case is in-house, all elective non-emergent surgeries are cancelled. We expect to have our first case by tonight. We expect our ICUs to get hit hard sometime next week. I work EMS in Tennessee and 2 days ago we transported a patient from hospital to hospital who was a confirmed COVID-19 patient. Ask me in about 2 weeks how I'm feeling. I have been listening to EMS calls on my scanner and have heard a lot of special duty calls transporting hospital to hospital in the last few days. You guys are heroes in my eyes. Stay safe. Me. I am 28 and so I'm obviously not in the high risk category but I can explain my symptoms I guess. I've been sick for 15 days and only have stayed in my house for the last 5 due to not having lots available here in southern Spain. It started as a cold with mucus and that was the main reason why I hadn't taken it seriously, but after a few days it got more severe. My symptoms by day 4 were a sore throat, wheezing, coughing, chills, no appetite, swollen lymph nodes, sour muscles. This was new to me, and in the last few days it's turned into a painful dry cough. Both my parents have the same symptoms. When my dad and I got the flu, before everyone got flu shots every year, the primary symptom was the muscle aches. Apparently it's just a thing for some folks but not others. My daughter lives in a nation, like a co-ed frat, at Lund University in Sweden. A close friend of hers that lives in her corridor is Sweden's patient zero. He returned from Italy about a week ago. Since he entered the country via Copenhagen, the health dep didn't catch him until the next morning. He felt fine and had only encountered 2 people in the hall before going to his room. He tested positive and the other 2 are quarantined for 14 days. They took him to the hospital. 2 days later he spiked to 105-degree fever and he has a bad cough and chest tightness. He's been achy, had chills, headaches, vomiting and diarrhea. He goes through day-long stretches where he feels like he's gotten better and then it comes back. He's 21. was in great health and shape. They are doing breathing treatments on him. Statistically he should be fine. He's said it's like he's going to die, then he's fine and the circle begins again. If I die from corona I want this to be on my gravestone. Statistically I should have been fine. How the heck did you get tested? A friend of mine may have it, based on the symptoms and severity he's experiencing, but our local gov won't give him a test for it because he hasn't recently traveled from China or Italy, and he hasn't had contact with any confirmed cases. It's absolute bulls. Our actual virus rate is probably exponentially higher than what's been announced, just because they won't test for it. There was a guy who caught it on one of the cruises. His wife didn't catch it but he did. He said that he got a fever couple days in a row, got really dehydrated, drank a ton of Gatorade and water. It was mild for him and he was already looking like he was in his 60s. He wasn't really complaining of chest breathing problems. He said the weird thing about the whole virus was he didn't get the achy, headache, coughing, stuffy nose like the regular flu. The biggest symptom is an unreal urge to visit every place in the world. I'm starting to get what I think is a common cold. This morning I woke up with a sore throat and I've been coughing and sneezing. Usually I wouldn't even care about this, but thanks to the media I'm getting totally paranoid. One of my co-workers refused to stay at home after visiting Italy and I've been in contact with this person. I'm in the Netherlands. Stepdaughter brought it home from school, made us all sick. 3 days of fever chills, felt like blowing and coughing razor blades. Stayed hydrated, probably a week and a half into it now with only a cough and blocked snotty nose. The phlegm is a yummy thick sticky green. Can definitely see how the elderly or infirm could be pushed over the edge with it tbh. Yikes, bless your heart, hang in there. My father's colleague friend has been diagnosed with the coronavirus. He was in northern Italy during the outbreak, then returned to his home country, where he was stopped at the airport. RN he is under house arrest with at least 6 policemen in front of his door. He is about to be transferred to the hospital. He's been officially diagnosed with COVID-19 now. Friend of mine got it. She described it as a bad cold mild flu. She only got tested after being contacted as someone that had been in contact with another confirmed case. In between contracting it and testing positive, she worked several shifts in a bank, went to the gym, went to the theater. Thankfully I've not seen her recently, nor have any of the friends I have seen. RIP. There is a guy who had a video explaining how it felt. He is an English teacher in China. Said it was the worst feeling he ever felt. All joints hurt like crazy, body was sore, no energy to do stuff including the usual flu cold symptoms. That's exactly how I felt when I got mono. I actually found out I have whooping cough instead, massively annoying, and don't worry I'm fine and took the doctor's advice instead of the essential oils one suggested lol. I think I had whooping cough a few years ago. I thought I was just coughing because I had quit smoking and my lungs were clearing out but man, the coughing was absolutely uncontrollable. I had to suck an air when I was done coughing because I couldn't breathe. I even threw up a few times because I was coughing so hard. Just left the doctor. Possible that I have it. I had matching symptoms so she swab tested me and told me to isolate myself. No results yet as it was about 30 minutes ago. I'll get back once I have the results. Results came back a couple hours early, and I have tested negative. Good luck man. If tests were available then a lot of us would. I work at a hospital and they told us they absolutely have the means to test. It's not some special kit. They can use diagnostics they already have, but are under order of the state health department to not do testing. DOH has to approve all tests themselves, supposedly to prevent a rush that would overload hospitals, but it still seems pretty crazy. On my tombstone I wanted to read asked for a Heineken, got corona instead RIP. Tombstone, I told you I was sick. Not diagnosed because I don't meet the testing criteria in my country UK. They won't test you unless you've been in contact with someone known to have it, but I may have it. I've had a fever, headache, muscle aches, shortness of breath and a sore throat for the last few days. Also been very tired and dehydrated. Feeling pretty rubbish and trying to do work from my flat with crappy internet, when all I want to do is sleep. Supposedly every single confirmed case in my state is in my city, and very, very close by, and I start my new job in a couple days. A job that involves interacting with tons of rando people every day. Why couldn't this have happened while I was still job hunting, i.e., barely leaving the house? SMH. I'll join the party, unemployed for a year, until last month. Went from sitting at home 90% of my days to working in the center of the city for the government. My office is located in the same building as the courthouse. Only a matter of time. I'm absolutely terrified of getting corona. Most people here say they're healthy and were fine. I'm 18, have 2 autoimmune diseases, no colon, and I'm regrowing a bone. My immune system could be unable to handle coronavirus if I got it. I'm a fighter though. I'll do everything I can to survive it. Unfortunately, all the stores around me are out of hand soap. I don't trust hand sanitizer like I do soap. Honestly think my dad had it 2 weeks ago. Had a high fever, the worst cough of his life, trouble breathing, and didn't leave his bed for 5 days. Had chest congestion up until about 3 days ago. Was at a doctor's office a week prior to feeling symptoms. All good now. Didn't get tested but he's convinced he got the corona at the doctor as he says haha. If he did have it, it makes me feel better about it because he didn't have serious complications and didn't pass it to any of my family members including myself. Honestly this sounds exactly like what I had at the beginning of the year. I'm sure there is but I don't have it yet. Just wait. 2 people in the building next to mine just got confirmed. FCK. BTW I'm in Hong Kong. Capital F. I hope everything turns out okay for you. Stay healthy fellow redditor. There was a guy in Denmark who has coronavirus. He made an AMA. It is however in Danish. Not good. Not bad. Could be better. So basically my IQ. Where's Osmosis Jones when you need him? I downloaded McAfee. Fingers are crossed but should be fine. Here have a poor person gold. You're all saying only redditors will survive this. Can we be realistic? North Koreans will be the only ones who survive. I barricaded myself into my bedroom after buying lots of snacks so I can avoid that illness. Was on a cruise with my housemates and caught it from a bunch of Chinese tourists. My buddy showed signs first and was severely bedridden for 3 days. He got tested on the 2nd day, and whilst we knew he had it, results took a couple of days to get back to us. I got hit on day 2 of my buddy being sick. It hit me during the night and I felt super hot and was shivering all night. When I got out of bed my clothes were literally dripping wet from all the sweat. Spent that day feeling pretty tired but not too bad. Next day though I felt more tired and by 7 PM I was exhausted and went to bed. Got up the next day and my energy was returning but I'd now developed a fairly frequent cough. As I have asthma any illness that affects my lungs really screws me up. So I got over the temperature part and lack of energy bit over 2 days and it wasn't really that bad but my cough took the best part of 2 weeks to get over. It wasn't a painful cough. It was just annoying that it was frequent. I also had mild diarrhea for the first 2 days. My housemate got over the cough part on day 3. His girlfriend, lives with us, ended up sick on day 4 and her symptoms were just like his. Our other housemate didn't really get much of a cough but he took 5 days to get over the fever get out of bed. Then we spent 3 weeks in the house. Thankfully we always keep our house full of food so we didn't even need to order food. Took the test again and we were all clear. Personally, on a pain scale the fever was maybe a 4, tiredness a 7 and the cough was maybe an 8 for frequency but the pain was only like a 3. I had the flu a couple of years ago and that definitely kicked my ass way worse but I can definitely see that if you're old and have weak lungs how it could really screw you over. Plus of course it's way easier to catch spread, so if you think you have it stay the frick indoors. My friend works in a hospital that has confirmed cases. He felt mildly unwell and got tested purely because of his proximity to the patients. He was surprised to get positive results. Said that for him it's just like a medium severity head cold. He said in any other circumstances he would have continued going to work the way he feels. Not me at all, but an acquaintance of my mother died. She was in her 50s with some heart issues. She likely got infected on a trip on the 20th. Dead 2 days ago. The 2 weeks incubation period is a max incubation period. It can be way more drastic than that. I have a hunch I had it. I went to bed totally fine, just a little groggy and irritated. When I woke up the next morning my joints hurt worse than they have ever hurt before when I get sick. My lower back and hips were throbbing and no position could get me comfortable or reduce the pain. I felt like I needed to throw up, sort of like that pit in your stomach feeling, but I didn't even dry heave. Not to mention, I was extremely dehydrated. It felt like a really bad hangover combined with the flu. I was stuck to my bed for a few days groaning from the pain in my joints, tired as frick, and practically hibernating. Woke up one day and felt totally fine. I remember telling my mom how different this felt because of the pain in my joints. I've had the flu. I had MRSA, and I'm pretty familiar with a cold. This one hit me differently. Within a week of being sick, multiple people in the county and neighboring county had popped up testing positive for coronavirus. A few counties over involved a case where someone who had just went bar hopping around the same time as me and my friends had tested positive. It could have just been a really bad cold or maybe even the flu, but I do have questions. Girlfriend has it. We both under 30. She has a bit of flu-like symptoms and is generally lethargic. She has been feeling a lot better 3 days after being diagnosed. Had it. 2 days of raised temperature and feeling sick. Slept a lot. Watched Netflix. Felt better on day 3. I'm 40. Introverts are the superior race. Yeah, and we live in Reddit. I knew being a loser all my life would pay off. Actually I didn't and I still feel like a total loser. So if someone films you walking around with COVID-19, is that a viral video? Slow clap. Yeah, okay, I feel like there are a lot of people here who didn't realize there was another strain of the flu going around late last year, early this year that infected a ton of people and caused a few deaths. If anyone remembers the case of the little boy who died because his mom was an anti-vaxxer and took FB's advice to just keep the kid home and give him essential oils, it was that same flu. The flu shot didn't protect against it completely, so the end result was a lot of us getting sick with a more mild version because while the shot wasn't 100% effective, it did tone down the symptoms for healthier people, which led to those infected, but still mild, cases still going to work, school and spreading it around. Coronavirus is scary and people should be quarantining themselves and playing it safe, but it sounds like at least 80% of you that didn't actually get tested for the virus just had the normal flu. There's also been bad cases of bronchitis going around this year, also because of the flu, as well, and that's insanely contagious. I say this because 1. People need to be better about recognizing when they're sick even without coronavirus going around, and 2. If you had the flu and think it was coronavirus without actually having gotten a positive test result, you're putting yourself at risk of actually getting it by thinking you already caught it. I thought I had the coronavirus because on Saturday and Sunday I had crippling chest pains and all of the symptoms of it. Luckily instead I had 3 heart attacks, so I don't need to worry about dying from the corona. I have not contracted the virus, but things have started to become panic here in Greece. All types of schools are shut down for 2 weeks and last night we had our first victim. Also, having Italy as a neighbor is not that great at the moment. It's okay if there's one thing we learned from history, it's that Italians tend to not have the best time in Greece. My guess is a lot of people answering this haven't tested positive for coronavirus but self-quarantined because of flu or cold symptoms. A lot of self-diagnosis going on in here. You are correct. Well, the nearest cases to where I live are 20 minutes away, driving. So, I'll tell you in week when it inevitably gets here. True to my word, here's an update. I'm nearly 100% sure there's a case of corona in my school because just 5 minutes ago the principal came on the intercom. She cancelled all club and after school activities. We were all rushed through the halls by the administrators and weren't allowed to mingle. My friend and I were joking about corona. She yelled out that she had corona, as a joke, and was immediately taken aside and yelled at. Don't know what happened to her, I didn't see her get to class. Another kid did the same and he was also brought aside. An announcement came on as I was writing this and the principal told us that anyone even joking about corona would find themselves in quarantine. Oops. Rumor is that school might shut down and we'll all be sent home to do classes online. That's all for now. It's there already, no doubt. Just nothing confirmed or official. Coronavirus. More like spicy air. I suppose we all handle our spice differently. What is the point to answer if you claim you have it but you have not been tested? So many answers that could just be flu or cold. You have been visited by the IT lizard. Upvote or experience bad internet for a month. Like and subscribe, you magnificent person.